I feel like there's a natural progression today to decide, like, all right, does it all feel worse than it really is? However, I feel like I want to give you the chance because you haven't been here.
Right.
You missed the deadline. You missed Bean's explanation of the deadline. You weren't here to talk about the report of the Jaylen Waddle trade that they did not pull the trigger on. And then, of course, the loss to Miami. So, there's stuff in there I don't want to just blow by without giving you a chance to just, air it out. Or
make it my Monday, basically, a little bit. It's Monday for me still a little bit while it's Tuesday for everybody else.
It's Joe Football Monday.
Yeah, it's my Football Monday. I mean, where do I want to start with it? I mean, because all of it, get to the Waddle part, like, the report, I think, is designed, am I wrong, designed to make it feel like, hey, guys, I tried. It's not my fault. I tried to get this player. I know we need this player. I went after it, but it's the division.
I almost didn't.
But the attached part that says that the Dolphins were willing to do it for a different year, first-round pick, totally neutralizes any thought that, oh, no, guys, I tried. It's, wait, they were willing to do it. Don't tell me about in the press conference last week, and this was reported too, well, it's just hard to get teams to work with you in the division. Wait a minute. No, they were willing to work with you. They had a price. They were willing to trade you Jaylen Waddle. At least that's what it sounds like. That which GM was willing to do what is the other piece of this, right? Because Chris Greer gets fired in the beginning of that week. Who was willing to do what? But it never sounds like they were never not willing to do anything. So just what's the difference? 2026 first-round pick versus 2027 first-round pick.
I'll give you my best explanation on the difference. The difference is the GM doesn't want to have a year where he's missing 2 picks. He wanted to be down 1 pick in each of 2 years. That's my best explanation for what the difference between the years would be.
And if that's the answer, I get it would be uncomfortable to go into a draft with just a second and then a fourth, but that is not enough value lost to get rid of the thing you need most. Because when I watched that game, not even just Waddle making the play on Hairston, but this offense, it reminds me of Kansas City the last 2 years a little bit, where maybe they've wanted to be more dynamic and they haven't been able to until this year. Those last 2 years where, Rice is getting injured and they're playing Mecole Hardman. They brought him back last year and put him on the field. They were just scraping by, what can we put out here that gets us any results passing the ball? And it occurred to me while watching that game on Sunday, what the Chiefs had the last 2 years when their passing offense wasn't working that they could always just rely upon? It was Kelsey was still there. They had Kelsey. They might not have wanted to use him as much as they did, but they always had that in their back pocket. And this Bills offense right now, I'm at a place where I feel like they cannot win the Super Bowl unless Dalton Kincaid is healthy. And that's a problem. That the tight end that is not Kelsey, he's not fully formed as a player yet. He's injury prone, and I need him. And if you had Waddle out there on the field, I don't think you would need that, as you would not have to rely upon as much, well, this tight end better be out there and better be on the field. I was in the back of the eighth row end zone, and that gives you a really interesting vantage point at all the routes that guys are running and all the plays and how defenses are lining up. So it's not the all 22. But one thing that I noticed that the Bills could not do on Sunday is they couldn't throw the ball as well when they had 2 tight ends out there on the field and even Gilliam out there on the field sometime. You want to know why? Because Kincaid isn't out there in those packages. That's Knox and Hawes.
Right.
So what do the Dolphins do? You see it. They pack in. It's like, it's like the little leaguer that can't hit the ball past the infield. Everybody move in. That's what the defenses are doing when they see those 2 tight ends out there and no Kincaid.
Right.
And then Kincaid gets hurt, so they're able to do it all the time.
That's why the numbers on Kincaid, yards per route run, because he runs routes during passing plays, and he's in the
He's not in those heavy packaging
plays.
He's
in the progression. He's in the progression. He's a passing game tight end. And I saw it was Josh Norris who made this note on fantasy, like a fantasy underdog. Yeah. He basically said one of the problems the Bills really have here is that their best receiver is a tight end that blocks like a receiver.
Right.
And they put him out in passing situations, and they don't really put him out there in run situations as much, and that makes their entire offense telegraphed.
Right.
So
telegraphed to a point where a defense that is not good in any way.
Yep.
And they don't even have all their pieces. Right? They weren't good at the beginning of the year. Jalen Phillips gets traded. Rasul Douglas isn't out there on the field, right, with an injury. Like, they're missing guys. And they were able to figure you out. They were able to stop you. I mean, this has been building to this, but like what they do have a good game against Kansas City. They have some nice plays against Carolina. They're bad against Atlanta, and they look bad against New England. Like, it's very stark to me what this offense looks like when Kincaid is not available to them. It is not on the field at all. And that's on the receivers. That's on the GM. I think that's on the coordinator. It's a little bit on the quarterback, the head coach. Like, I think everybody is at fault right now for this passing offense being so untrustworthy. And that's the word I'd want to use because that's how I feel Allen probably feels about it. All the screenshots or clips that you're seeing on social media are like, he might have had a guy here and he might have had a guy there. It doesn't matter. He doesn't trust any of them. What is he? He doesn't trust any of it right now. So if a guy's open for half a second, he's probably not pulling the trigger because he can't count on any of these guys on a consistent basis other than Kincaid. I don't know who else he's supposed to look to.
Kincaid and Shakir, who runs 2 yards.
Right, and those aren't even real pass plays.
Right.
So it's like the one guy he might be able to trust doesn't run real pass plays. So I don't know. I'm in bad. It was a bad game to watch from the angle I watched it at. I mean,
where were you
the opponent.
Where'd you sit?
8th row behind the end zone.
So you got the. Excuse me.
Like right in the back of the end zone, like the end zone where Allen was doing his circles for like 20 seconds.
Right.
That play, it was funny. There were a lot of Bills fans obviously in the crowd. Like, it was more Bills fans than Dolphins fans, I think, by a lot. And after that play happened, there were a bunch of Bills fans right around us, and half of them were going, "Wow, what a play. Josh Allen, here we go. Can you believe this guy?" And the other half were going, "Can you believe how long it takes a receiver to get open?" He had to run for 20 seconds before somebody finally got free. I mean, I'm at a loss because I don't really know what the answer is. The deadline's passed.
That, to me, is a big part of this mood around town and around the Bills this week. And I tried to kind of drive this home yesterday. Like, all right, you're frustrated, you're mad. And I think part of the anger is deadline hangover because now we know, like, all right, this is the group. This is it. This is the team. We didn't know Mecole Hardman would be a part of it, but he's on the practice squad now. Okay.
No.
But this is the group. The roster is the roster, and the injuries have played a major part here. I have a Twitter poll up about how bad things are. How is everything with the Bills? One day later, you slept on it. Is it bad? Is it not that bad? Or is it totally fine? So you can kind of check in if you've come back a little bit off of the loss to the Dolphins. I think there are a couple things happening nationally in the conversations about the Bills. People are noticing, like, man, that they shouldn't look like that.
No.
The Bills should not look like that. But also, all right, it's a game. It's a division game. For the first time in a year, whatever, in 10 years, you lost to Miami.
Yeah, 1,100 days since they had lost to Miami.
All right, so goofy games happen. All right, they'll get back on track. They're not out of it yet, but maybe they're having some troubles, and that happens in the course of a year. So, like, those two things are happening. But I'm starting to see more and more of they shouldn't look like this. Like, they shouldn't look like that. When should you ever look like that? Your offense was a mess, and then it's careless turnovers. And the quarterback, to me, is the big conversation point from here. How he feels about the deadline that didn't happen. Is he in on that? Does he know? Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're close. We're getting close to Jaylen Waddle here. All right, cool. I mean, let me know. I've seen him play. He looks pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's the perfect fit, but he can definitely play. And the Bills are ready to deal. Then he finds out it doesn't happen. Is he crestfallen by that? Is he, I believe in my guy because he's always been that? How is his level of trust with Joe Brady? I mean, yesterday, I kind of can't believe it. I'm glad somebody asked it because it had to be asked. I kind of can't believe that Sean McDermott was asked, what about Brian Daboll?
Yeah.
I mean, I know that is a fair question.
And he was asked about whether Joe Brady is going to continue as offensive coordinator.
That's right.
Yeah.
Which is kind of nuts. I think the question is always fair. I'm just kind of surprised that it got asked. And he answered it emphatically. He's our offensive coordinator for the rest of the season. Come on.
Yep.
No consideration to Brian Daboll. Like, all right, he shot that down quickly as really it's the only thing he could have done and should have done. The idea of Daboll, to me, I don't think any Bills fan that wants that to happen on some level, I don't think that's nuts at all. We're kind of right back where we were at the Ken Dorsey inflection point, where it's a little bit about the offense, but it's a lot more like, man, the quarterback looks like he's miserable. And we're how many weeks removed from Allen saying that his grandmother told him to smile?
Like not long ago. 3 weeks?
It's like 2-3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
In my group chat with a couple of buddies, like when that happened, we kind of joked like, uh-oh, it's over. Like he's already too far up there in the head thinking about trying to have fun. And we've all got our theories about like the battle for Josh Allen's soul that we do every once in a while.
Yep.
And we're right back there where he's afraid to throw. He doesn't like things he sees. There are plays where he turns things down. There's also just flat out bad throws. He had a couple of bad throws in this game.
Is the pick that Knox is in the area of in the end zone a bad throw? He's maybe going for Shavers there.
He is going for Shavers.
Like whoever he's going for, it's probably a bad throw.
Yeah, Joe Marino said that's on Shavers. That's a play that's I watched Joe's All 22 review and he said it's a well-designed play. Shavers supposed to get open, but your receiver doesn't get open fast enough, and they send a blitz. So
the ball's got to come out.
That pick is because your receivers aren't good enough. Miami says we're going to blitz 7 against 6. We're going to go man-to-man coverage. Your receiver's not going to get open. You have to get the ball out, and somebody's going to pick it off. Like that's on the receiver's interception. So you've got a lot going on, and whether or not they have the answers, we'll see.
Wow, the only change that I wonder if they get to at any point here, because one thing that maybe the Daboll question and the Brady question were surprising yesterday in McDermott's press conference. I was not surprised by the way he answered either question. The thing I was most surprised by on how he answered yesterday, maybe I shouldn't be, is when he was asked about Keon Coleman and effort. And he didn't shoot it down at all. Like he really didn't. He was right there with like, it's been addressed. And like a willingness to kind of admit to that in public that, they're not just being, unless this is what he's talking about, being late to meetings in behind the scenes and not performing on the field, like simply no effort. Like maybe running around when Allen is scrambling and, because he's not catching many of those when Allen's buying time and it's scramble drill time. Like the head coach willing to say like, no, we've addressed it. And it's fair to ask about Coleman and effort. Like, how many times have they just ever handed a young player opportunities like they've handed Keon Coleman? They pride themselves in not doing that. James Cook, and go down the list of all the young players that have just not seen playing time because they hadn't earned it yet. But with this guy, he hasn't earned it yet, but he continues to lead the team in snaps. And how do those two things continue to add up? Is it just that they do not have a body that they could put in his place? They would want Coleman off the field, and they are waiting for Gabe Davis? Is that the change that's coming? I listening to the head coach yesterday, that's really what I wanted. Like, he is praying that Gabe Davis can get back healthy because he's dying to get Coleman off the field.
I don't think it's justified to take Coleman off the field. Coleman, listen, like they put him in rough spots, but like as we mentioned, there's one deep throw where he is open and Allen misses him. Is he the only one accountable? If he doesn't try in a play, or if he doesn't come up with a catch, or if he doesn't separate, but then on another route, he does beat his man and get open, and Allen misses. Like, Allen's not accountable to that. Only Coleman is accountable.
But how many times is that happening?
Oh, I know.
That he's getting open, and it's on the quarterback that he's not the guy that's getting involved on a game-to-game basis.
In this game, there are 2 deep throws to Coleman where he is open enough to get the ball on him, and the quarterback didn't do it.
Yeah.
That's 2 deep shots. And sure, is one back shoulder throw a rough rep from him? Yes. And is there one where he also just doesn't separate and they're trying to force him the ball? Like, sure, out and ups. Yep. But I almost feel like we are getting at the point where it's almost like Coleman is being scapegoated for the other problems. Because, of course, scheme problems, no Kincaid. I've got a blocking tight end out there running my seam routes, and Jackson Hall's been a nice player so far. Tyrell Shavers is my other outside receiver because Palmer is injured. Like, I've got a lot going on. The quarterback's got happy feet. He's not seeing things. He's not trusting things. And without saying, like, I'm not putting zero blame on Coleman for what's happening. I just think he is exactly what they thought he is, and they're mad about it.
Well, no, I don't think.
Sorry, he's what we thought he was. He's exactly what everyone thought he was.
Yes.
And they're mad about that.
Right.
Like, how come this isn't working?
Right.
Where's my basketball above the rim player? Like, well, those are always low percentage plays, and you're mad that this kid, and he's a kid, he's young, and he's probably catching too much, and you start him where he shouldn't. You play him out of position. Like, there's so much going on with that, and they're mad about that.
Isn't that part of isn't that the opposite, the approach, though, that they always take to developing a young player? Is, hey, if there's too much on his plate and he's not up to handling it all, we're not going to put it all on his plate. We're going to put it on somebody else. And with this guy, it's not that approach at all. It is feed him to the wolves.
Right.
And he's probably not capable of it. But
he certainly doesn't play like a big body bully receiver they think he is.
No. Like, I mean, maybe this is wrong. I wonder if he is dragging down the entire offense. Because it's just somebody you just don't have to pay attention to if you're a defense. They have got practice squad corners on him the entire game.
In his pocket.
And in most plays, there's no threat. And this is not... Who is the Atlanta corner that had him locked up all day? A.J. Terrell? It's not A.J. Terrell. It's guys you've never heard of that are not having a problem with him.
803-0550, 1-888-550-2550 to join us. Jeremy and Joe, we'll get your calls in. Howard picks the Bills. Plenty more along the way.
I'm sunburned if I didn't mention it.
You got a sunburn too?
I can't. This is not a complaint I should really make to everybody. I was sunburned by Thursday. Yeah.
If you talk too much about the sun, I'm going to submit for next week off at 10 a.m., and I'm just going to go somewhere where it's warm.
Yeah.